In this video, we're going to take a look at modifiers. Now, in Blender, we can use modifiers to do a lot of stuff. We can duplicate things, we can use them as mirrors, we can add more details, we can create physics, create hair, you name it. So let's take a look at how we can use modifiers. Once again, keep in mind, we're just going to cover the basics for now. I just want you to get an understanding of where you can find them, and we're going to try a few of them. Later, during our whole workflow and when we're creating our assets, that's where we're going to be diving much deeper into modifiers, and I will be explaining why I will be using certain ones at that time. For now, just try to follow along and enjoy the video. So in Blender, we have this cube, and while we could go into edit mode, or click here to go into edit mode, we want to go somewhere else because we currently don't want to do any editing at all. What we want to do is add a modifier to our cube. If we go to the modifiers properties, we can see that we have the option to add a modifier. We simply click on add modifier, and here we have some choices. We can create geometry nodes. We can do modifiers that edit the mesh, generate something, deform, influence the normals, add physics, or create hair. Now in this case, I want to take a look at the array modifier. Why? Because with the array modifier, I can simply show you a simple modifier without having to touch the cube at all. So when we add the array modifier, we immediately see that we get a second cube. You might not be able to see it right now, but if I were to add a little bit more distance on the x-axis, you see that we now have two cubes. So we are basically creating an array of cubes. And we can influence its count. We can change it to fixed count, fit length, or fit curve. But for now, fixed count is fine. Now let's say we want to have 10 cubes. That looks fun, and that was really easy. And the great thing is that the distance between each of these cubes is equal. Now, what if we want to add one more modifier? You know what? Let's add another array to this. The moment I do that, you see that this whole segment gets duplicated. But I don't want to keep offsetting this on the x factor. I want to offset this on the y factor. So I'm going to type 1.1 here. And we now see that we are basically taking that first array and we're adding a secondary array on top. Now we can duplicate that with ease. And just like that, we have created this set of cubes without having to do much work. And they have exactly the same offset on the y and x axis. There are more modifiers that we can add, and we simply do not have to delete these to add more. But the great thing about modifiers is that you can turn them on or off. For example, I can just turn these arrays off and we get to see our single cube. And with the arrays on, I just simply have to go to edit mode, edit one of these cubes. They all get edited at the same time. Let's delete these two arrays. Let's go to add modifier, click on generate, and let's choose one of the other modifiers at our disposal. For example, we also have the Boolean modifier. Now I'm going to add this to my cube, but right now nothing is happening. Some modifiers need multiple objects to work. Boolean is one of them. To do so, I'm going to add a sphere and just move it over here. Now, I'm going to tell the Boolean modifier that I want this object to use the difference with this object and delete when they intersect. So the moment I add this, and I'm going to move this over here, you're going to notice that, let me hide this, that the moment I hide the sphere, that the sphere basically took out a chunk out of this cube that we had. Now, if I were to move the cube, you see that while the sphere is hidden, it's still in our scene. And it does influence, thanks to the Boolean, the chunk that is removed from this cube. We can also do intersect, and that means that basically everything outside of the sphere gets removed. And we also have union, which technically combines both of these objects, but we don't want to use that for now. And as you can see, you can use this to really do cool stuff. Maybe you want to create a hole in an object. That's where you can use Boolean for. Let's take a look at that while we're at it. So I'm going to go to Mesh by clicking Shift A and adding a cylinder. And I'm going to rotate this by pressing R and then clicking on X and then typing 90 on my keyboard. Then I'm going to scale this by holding S and making it smaller and moving this inside of our cube. Now I'm going to click on Tab, click on 3 and just select this and extend it a bit. I just want to have it pass through the cube. Now if I were to the cube and if I were to select this cylinder, I can say that, okay, if I were to hide this, it should create a hole in my cube. So as you can see, we can use modifiers for different things. And if I move just a bit too quick, just around now to show you what this does, don't worry. We're going to be repeating ourselves and doing a lot of the movements and shortcuts multiple times through this video. For now, try out a few of the modifiers and see what you can come up with. And if you mess up, once again, just click on File, New, and click on General Document to create a new file and try it again. You really cannot mess anything up. That's the great thing about Blender. You can always reset and restart, and you're not really doing anything complex where you have to worry about, oh, did I save it or can I go back? Those are stuff that we're going to cover later down the road and learn how to do iterations of files and how to make sure we actually do not mess up anything. But for now, just try to have fun. I'll see you in the next video.